Hi, this is A Minute of Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now, this week I want to talk about why you should take ownership of your code. Okay, so this week I had to make a few changes to an app that I had outsourced. So, if you know anything about me, I do a lot of coding myself, but when where possible, I don't want to do the coding. So, I am a very expensive app developer. I'm an expensive developer. So when I get an app done, I try to find the best way to do it. And a lot of times that is having really good coding standards, making sure you give it to somebody who could do a really good job with it, and just sort of handing it off, and then and then also keeping on top of that. So having like daily Git repository down check-ins and stuff like that, just so you could stay on top of the project. But sometimes you can't stay on top of the project. I mean, I have some apps from the early days that I wasn't all that on top of everybody. I thought, well, I really don't want to annoy them. They seem to be getting on really well, and then you get the app, you get the code back, and everything seems to be working well on the phone, but the code looks like vomit. I mean, it just looks awful, right? So, and it's the kind of code where you don't want to go through and touch because somehow it was working, and it's just their variables are named bad and all this kind of stuff. Which if you're not a developer, you should still get the code back from your developer. So like if you're just like somebody who's not a developer, right? So you've hired some developers and they're coding the app for you, and then they've released it, and you're like maybe happy with it, maybe not happy with it, but you should get the code back from them. That should be part of your contract. When you negotiate a contract with an outsourced provider, you need to make sure that you have access to the code. Now, I always say that I like to have access to the code throughout, but a lot of times if it's a fixed price, they don't want to do that because that takes all their power away. Like you could just take the code, compile it, and do whatever. So they would rather, if you're paying at the end, then they will give you the full code at the end, which is fine. But however, you should get the code, and you should be able to tweak that code yourself. Now, one of the things, and this is what I've been doing this week, is working on one of those older projects and adding a few changes to it, and the code is just really bad, and a lot of times it's taking ownership of it, and it was so difficult to do because everything's kind of all over the place that I was tempted to go back to that developer and just say, hey, can you make these changes for me, right? Because he could probably do it quickly because he knows all the code, because he's the diabolical guy who did it all, right? So however, what makes more sense is to actually put in those hours and take ownership of the code. That way, when you make small changes, you're not beholden to this outsource company or to this developer. I mean, there's so many things that are just simple changes. Like I want to change the background color of a form, or I want to change a label, or I want to add a new field to a form or something like that, which is stuff that you should be able to do, but sometimes the code is just so bad that you can't do that. So, I mean, when you're speccing out a project, one of the things to make sure is that you have some sort of instructions on how, if I was going to do X, Y, and Z, I want some documentation on how to do that. And I want to make sure that every class has at least a little bit of documentation saying what it's for. And but documentation in software is like, it's very rare. I mean, it's on big, large, expensive projects, there's lots of documentation, but on small, outsourced projects, there's usually not much. So anyway, my message this week is if you have one of these projects that you've outsourced to somebody else and it's come back, is to take ownership of that code, is to not rely on that third party. Sometimes it means going to another developer. Now, I've done this before, and every single time, I mean, I've taken one of my projects, which I think, this is just terrible. I wish I'd never gone with that first developer. I'm going to go to a new developer and just get them to make a few changes. And they always say the same thing. They always say, oh, well, Eric, we need to rewrite this from scratch, right? Which is like, no, actually you don't. And then, so you end up spending, a few days just tweaking code and digging in and trying to find the places that need to be changed. Because, every developer will tell you they want to start from scratch and rewrite from scratch. Sometimes it's necessary, but not nearly as often as people think. So my message this week is take ownership of your code. That's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next week. Okay, goodbye. hey, I really hope you liked that video. Now I do these once a week, so if you want to hear more, or you want to hear more about our experiences with the App Store, either Google Play or iTunes, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and please like this video and leave a comment. I love reading the comments. I love hearing what you have to say, even if it's just hello or whatever. And like I say before, if you're not sure what to say in a comment, like I never know what to say in a comment, I'll make it easier for you. Like if you liked it, just go ahead and say gnarly, which is an 80s term, or if you didn't like it, just say bogus, and if you didn't think any of it, just say eh. Right? So that would be a big help. And another thing you could do, which I'd really appreciate it, if you're on the App Store and you want to try one of our apps, look up some of the Overpass apps applications, either on iTunes or Google Play, and leave a review and let us know what you think about it, either good or bad. But it's we're all trying to build up in the market, so that would be a big help. So that's it. I'll talk to you next week.